This is episode 1 covering the recap of the 2025 season so far. For everything Hartfield Hawks, from athletics, to clubs, to events, this is your Hartbeat Podcast. Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Hartbeat Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the recap of the football season in 2025. We just ended it, but we want to talk about how things are going.
And I'm Zane, and today we're breaking down the early story of the team, as well as how the season kicked off and how it's going to go continuing from what the tone they set.
All right, Zane, let's start from day one. I had the opportunity to go to summer workouts to look at the football team. They started late May, I believe. So they've been working throughout the whole summer for this season. I had the opportunity to go take pictures for them, take videos. Ogwin was there with me taking pictures. So it was every morning, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
We go over there for football practice. They lift weights at 6 and then do their normal on-the-field practice a little bit later. But it was really impressive to see how, again, you wake up, everyone else sleeps late.
Yeah.
Even if you're working, you're waking up to go to work at 9. So these guys are waking up early to go to football practice, to go to work afterwards.
Oh my gosh. That's like determination right there, though, right? Because like with it, you have to have like the common schedule. It's kind of like for the military, how every day they wake up and then they get right to work with like at ease and stuff. So with that, that kind of sets like the tone, I guess, for starting off like with that determination. Wouldn't that like give them determination for that, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. When you go in, because their new locker room, their new weight room right now is really impressive. You got like 2 TVs up here, and I think I still have this picture. If I do, I'll bring it up. But it shows the TVs up there. They had a live countdown to the season opener. So I think at that point it was like 50 days away, and it had to count down from days to minutes. And it's like, at least you know that's what's happening. It looks good.
So basically, they were waiting to like lock in, is what you're kind of saying with like the countdown, right?
Oh yeah, it's looking good. But again, with the graduating class moving out, with your big names that going, you got Reggie going to Arkansas, you got London going to Alabama.
Oh yeah.
You've got these big names moving out. It was tough getting into the season with your big names graduating out. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you got the juniors moving into seniors with Bralan and
right.
KD. Got those big names as well. But you don't have that big line anymore. So you had to swap up your strategy from last year, especially now with Tapper moving out and we get to a younger quarterback in Ethan Elliot. It's going to be difficult to come back for defending 2-time state champions with pretty much everyone against you.
Yeah.
So their determination this summer really proves that they have the grit to move on forward.
That's impressive. So with the summer workouts, did they target like specific areas that people were weak in, basically, to like, or like trying to reach a certain goal for like a weight goal, I guess you'd say, for their positions?
I would think so. They had, again, I was there only for a couple days. I did drive my brother up there every day. But from what I saw, there was, on the TVs, there was one that was the countdown. The other one shows your different weights depending on your max.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of showed everyone your max. So it kind of lets you think about, everyone can see it.
Yeah.
That means I need to push up to be up there on kind of the leaderboard, really. Right. Because, again, you don't want to be last place on some of those. Talking to my brother, especially over the summer, their weight goals have moved up a lot. So I don't know too much about it, So
Okay.
I can't say too much into it. But the amount of growth just from on the weight side of it was impressive to see as well, especially with the rising seniors as well. You can look at some of those players and you can tell that they've been working hard from the summer.
Right. Absolutely. Uh,
So, speaking back to the rising seniors, which is our class, one big name to note was Bralan Womack. He's recently Gatorade Player of the Year,
Yeah.
which is it's a big thing. A lot of people laugh about it, but think of it from another perspective. I don't know for certain, but it's one player per state. So if you're best in the state at what you do, it's a really impressive thing. So got to give it to him. Moving into that role, what do you think other teams will see him as the 5-star player, the big name out there? How do you think other schools would see that?
Other schools would be determined to take that spot from him, I think, trying to make sure they get towards where he is in athleticism and with determination, like moving forward with how he acts and how he is on the field. They're going to try to like over accomplish what he did. Other teams like JA, Prep, and MRA, they've all had their ranks with trying to like take basically what he has done already. So it's always like an accomplishment, like you said, for state to give us the Gatorade Player of the Year, Bralan Womack. So I'm excited to see who the next one would be.
Oh yeah, I agree. If we can keep that name at Hartfield, that'll be pretty cool. But speaking up to kind of the difficult beginning of the year, if you've been keeping up with Hartfield Live, if you've been keeping up with pretty much anything Hartfield in general, you could see how the beginning of the season was difficult. Although summer workouts was really impressive, the beginning of the year was a little shaky. Looking back, talking still about Bralan, you could definitely see all through the season, really, that double team the whole time. So it's got to be difficult with that big of a name. It probably has that much of a target on your back as well. But you were there to take all the notes. You've been really impressive to sit there and write down all the notes for pretty much every single game.
Yeah.
Especially working drumline as well. Can you talk us through the hard beginning that we've had? Some of the details on that.
Absolutely. So with it, we had a rough starts coming in the first few games. Let's say like the first 4 weeks. So with that, with the first week, we coming back from the last season of football, we were. I was as a student, I was excited to see how our team could have improved uh, over the summer, and so with that, we started off not doing too well defensively. Um, the kickoffs were great with our rising seniors, but we didn't have that defense that we needed with what came with our D line and offensive line, right? So had to make some changes, how to make some plans for upcoming games would be working on those aspects, especially like during our breaks for let's say for homecoming week, right? So with our starting stuff, we needed to focus more on how to play as a team instead of just as individuals. And with that, um, we needed more drive, more focus, and overall more grits to start off. And it wasn't more about like a plan. It was more like for athletes say they always like think we always think highly of ourselves, right? So it's not more about like what others can do. It's like what we can do in our position. So with that, like not everything is me, 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 me. It's how we can cooperate as a team and have that standard. Um, we didn't suddenly become like the Hawks we are today. It's always about becoming something new, and with that, we need to like understand our roles throughout throughout this football game.
I love the wind right there, knocking down all of our notes.
Yeah.
But we have one thing coming into the season. Coach Bowman did not want any jamboree games. He didn't want. His reason behind that was he didn't want any players getting hurt before the actual season started.
I see.
Do you think that was a good idea from our season opener against Columbia where we lost? Do you think it would have been helpful to try to get that team to try to rally around one game beforehand?
I think it would have been a better idea to start off the season great or with that first game, because as a student it gave us like low morale, I say, because like coming off like a huge high from the last season, winning the state championship twice, uh, it lowered the standard that I had going into like how I viewed our football players going forward with it. So if Coach Bowman decided to start off with like an attack, I'd say, I think it would have been better for us going forward, like for mindsets.
I agree. Definitely coming back from a 12-2 state championship Hawks team.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult, especially demoralizing, really, losing your first home game.
Yeah.
Especially from student perspective. But I want to move on to kind of the comeback of the season. We're 1-5. We lost every single home game up at that point. We won against Pillow, but that was kind of a given. But coming into this second half of the season, where pretty much everyone was like, Hawks are done. They won 2 in a row. This new MAIS setup is directly against them.
Yeah.
No chance of getting into a state title matchup or even the playoffs, really. How do you see, from the stats perspective, how we came back? And we love when cameras fall over.
Oh, yeah.
Let's come back to what we were saying. Let's see if I remember what we're talking about.
The comeback.
Yes, the comeback. So, from a 1-5 team, from a stats perspective, how do you see, the morale boosting again to coming back to get into the playoffs?
So for our morale coming back, what happened was we were at the what's it called again?
Help me out here. What are we talking about? You got to give me some information here.
I can't remember the what's the week-long thing where we don't have like school.
Where we don't have school?
Well, we're at school, but we don't have
school. Oh, that's the bye week.
No. But there's a football game on that Friday. Homecoming. That's what it was. Holy.
How did you forget homecoming?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh my god.
My attention there. Holy crap. Okay.
Okay.
So the comeback, I think it started with the homecoming week, because whenever it was that Friday night, I heard the players were already getting like rowdied up and actually like understanding what they were trying to do. And so whenever it was that Friday night, from a stat perspective, I saw we started off really strong with like our line as well. And it was like a slow change. It wasn't like immediately we were getting into it. So with that, it wasn't like a speech that Coach Bowman did or a miracle play that happened during the game or like anything like that. It came down to like the 3 negotiables that I always like to say. 1, do your job. 2, like do your job with commitment. 2, do your trust the man that's next to you with, let's say Ethan Elliot, trusting the men in front of him to block him so he can get a good pass for a touchdown. And the third one would be that win the physical battle. every rep that you do on the field for practice and like every drive basically. So those three non-negotiables mainly get you, I think, where you can actually start to improve and make the comeback for that. So then it's like with the offense, starting like off with a unit and not as like individual, like I said, individual players, actually like made a difference for our defense, and we started to actually like be able to block and be able to tackle, which was actually really good for our games.
I agree. The defense definitely have come together as a team towards the middle of the season.
Absolutely.
Definitely, I want to bring it back to Ethan Elliott with him coming in as a junior quarterback, coming in under Tapper.
Yeah,
he got a little bit of playing time last year, but not a significant amount. Coming in from a 12-2 team, two-time state champions, it's going to be difficult to have all that pressure on your shoulders.
Yeah.
But I agree, after that homecoming game against Lamar, with that win there, I think it really clicked for him. Because every game after that, sometimes it was a little shaky, but he played a really good game.
Absolutely.
Once it clicked for him, I think after that point, he's been one of the best quarterbacks that I've seen, especially young. I'm really excited next year to see what happens. So, the cat is underneath the chair.
Yep. For those that are just listening in.
Yeah, for those who are listening.
Under my seat.
But it was impressive to see his growth through this season. But yeah, we came back after that 1-5 loss. We came back and won 5 games in a row there to bring it to where we were at a winning spot. Well, we were 5-5 going into the playoffs. We were the least favorite to win because, again, from a stats perspective, it looks like the Hawks are just done. They're just done for the rest of the year. 1-5. There's really no chance.
Absolutely.
But the amount that we came together, a couple of different coaching changes that I think I saw. I'm not a big football person, so I don't see too many of the details, but it was obvious to see that the team came together, a couple different coaching changes to realize that, hey, this team is different than last year's team and the year previous. Once that really clicked for coaching staff, for the team as general, it really moved us forward to where we were there on a winning streak. Going into the playoffs 5-5, we were looked down upon, but still, it was good to see that, again, it clicked for us. We were moving in. So, moving into more specific details, against rivalry game, against Prep, at home, we managed to be 3 seed, so we were able to play Prep at home, which I think is a huge factor, because I think the Honchos this year especially, they have done a really good job gathering teammates around. For softball especially coming in, it was really impressive to see the amount of people coming for softball games. They did just as well for football games, packing that stadium.
Yeah.
Going into now basketball season, we've packed to where we overflow to the mezzanine. It is really impressive to see what they've done. But huge student section, again, rivalry game, giant flag.
Yeah.
It's funny story about that pole. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it on stream.
Probably not right now. Maybe later on.
Maybe later on.
Yeah.
But giant flag, really hype student section. But going against our rivalry game, that again we've lost to earlier in the season by a good margin at Prep.
Yeah.
So coming into this game, we were not the favorites to win. And if anyone said we were favorites to win, then it would be like one score, maybe field goal if we get into that range.
Yeah.
But we weren't expected to win there. Again, coming back into that game, again, the Mississippi Gridiron, a big again, they have a big presence on Instagram, were predicting that it would have been a prep MRA championship, which did not turn out too well.
Did not.
But again, coming into the game 5-5, again, you've lost. One big thing to note really is we lost against prep, we lost against MRA, we lost against JA. So we've lost against all three of the big schools that are in the playoffs.
From our district, yeah.
Yeah, for our district.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
For the 4A Division 1, so everyone thought Hawks are done. It's gonna be
over
there
for the playoffs.
It's
we won't be able
over.
to do anything. Yeah.
But again, we come into the game rough start, kind of unable to defend. But again, what was impressive to me is I was nervous. Okay, I run the shoulder cam. I'm down there in the line.
Right. You hear everything that's going on.
Yeah, it was a little concerning. They got all the way up towards the end. I'm like, okay, we can't let them score here, but we're going to see what happens. But our defense says something clicks, and we're able to defend that at the line there, and then move over to our side for another touchdown there, putting it up to 7-0 in the first. So what are your thoughts about how we started out that game?
For the playoffs?
Yeah, for the playoffs in general. I mean, how people didn't see us as much of anything, really.
Yeah, going into it, a lot of the teams did not think of us as a threat this year since preseason or pre-playoffs. We were like you said, 1-5. We didn't have much of a starting oomph to us. But with that, we were not willing to back down. So with that, we decided to lead with a good start with defending, and then afterwards, Ethan Elliot, he really locked in and decided to make some great passes. He made some good carries with number 0 Katie Catchings and 2 Bralan Womack as well, getting us some good yardages for starting the playoffs for the first game especially. And
I agree, most definitely. I think that is the single best game Ethan Elliott's played.
Yeah.
Some of those plays that he just took it himself. He wasn't afraid to run down the gut.
Yeah.
It was really impressive to see some of those sneaks that he's had. He would run up to 40 yards on some of those plays. And to be a quarterback that's a young person that's willing to sit there and run up the gut against a bigger team like Jackson Prep, it's really impressive to see it. Those plays, again, this is my take, but I really do believe that without Ethan Elliott's drive to sit there and run up the gut multiple times,
right,
we wouldn't have won that game. If we would have, it would have been by a small margin. But him really stepping up into the position that he had to be in was really impressive. I think credit to our home side. Again, we were there. It was, again, 5 wins in a row. We knew that we were going to beat Prep. It was a good game.
Yeah, absolutely. And from the student section perspective, for it, all the honchos gathering everyone up, trying to make sure that everything was as fun as you can get for a football game. Having the cowbells being rung, we had the gong in the back. It was always a great time right there.
Let's speak a little bit. I want to get off on a little bit of a tangent here.
Okay.
Because we got time. That bell that I bring, Lord, I love it. That bell, I found it, well, technically my grandparents found it over here.
Right.
When we bought this property here at my house, there's an old guy over here named Mr. Buddy. He was here, giant bell, thing's probably 100 years old. Full iron, loudest thing possible. It grew into the tree. We managed to get it out. But
you gotta tell me that story in here in a second.
Oh yeah, it was But when we first got over here, I was like 8 years old. Me and my brother loved to just run over there and hit it. You know how loud it is. So my grandparents weren't so happy about it.
Right.
But I remembered we had it this season, and we don't really have, the big third down bell. We play a little bit of it, but it's not that big of an oomph.
Mm-hmm.
Although the bell's a little bit high pitched, I love it. Trying to drive down the road with it, though, with it clanging in the back of my truck is a little loud, though. But I think it really was a momentum changer for one of the games because I had people from the other side sit there and talk about, hey, that bell, we all heard it. Because over there in it's I forget the sponsor of the field, so I'm sorry. But on our field, we were in the middle of a valley, so that bell would echo through there. But it was great. We had a couple games with it. Student section, obviously, I gave it to y'all at the prep game.
Right.
From drumline perspective, how do you see that bell being used?
Our drumline really loves loud things, as you could probably tell from everyone being there. So when you added the bell to our section, they were all having the biggest smiles and I could see in their eyes, they like it was glistening how much they loved that bell. And Beckham was like the main person that wanted to like always play it for the third down. And I was explaining to him how like when to hit it and like what way, because you showed me earlier that day for it. So he was the main person that enjoyed that bell the most out of the entire drum line.
Yeah.
I think.
Let's go back to, because we got off on a little bit of a tangent.
That's the tangent.
But let's head back to the prep game. Luke Wesson, a transfer from East Rankin Academy, who was one of our wins in the later part of the season.
Right.
But transfer from East Rankin, had 2 touchdown runs there.
Mm-hmm.
He's, again, first year there, really impressive. He's a junior, really impressive there. So that puts up again, going into the half, 21-0 for Hawks.
Yeah.
It really destroys any narrative that anybody had of Hawks can't defend anything. We're going to lose first time. Putting up a scoreless half against Prep was really impressive for anybody to see.
Yeah, no one expected it at all. So with that, we got the prep students section to like absolutely quiet down whenever it was at 21-0. And I was actually like very excited to see them. Like we've never in like all of the years I've been at Hartfield ever like shut prep down basically for like the entire section. So with that, that was always fun to see because that never happens. But then also, let's see here with Ethan Elliot, he had like a 79-yard like run as well that game, and that's always impressive.
Yeah,
to go from basically like nowhere to all the way down the field to take a touchdown. He did take a touchdown.
That was a touchdown there. Again, going back to talking about Ethan Elliot, started off the season kind of shaky.
Yeah.
But again, you're a junior. You don't have that much of experience as quarterback.
Right.
When that locked in during the first game of the playoffs against Prep, something changed. I don't know what it was, but it was everybody saw it. Yeah. It was all the work that was from summer workouts all the way up. I think it just all culminated right there for him. And that was, again, next year, we aren't going to be there, but next year, it's going to be a force to be reckoned with. He's going to be a really good QB. I think he's going to be kind of the face of the Hawks next year.
Absolutely. Also, with that, I want to add on to that because Ethan Elliott, like I said earlier, it matters every rep and every like drive that you have. So Ethan Elliott, he really took off like with that prep game, with how he like fought through that with the rep stuff. Like he was not stopping with like how he was throwing his like I saw one of the practices, he was not stopping with his throws nor stopping with how to see where if he's gonna get tackled or not from if they break through the defense or not. So he actually was really good that game. And with that, it's just he had a lot of potential and like you said, next year he will have even more to like work with. So that'll be
Oh
great.
yeah. It might be difficult with, our big name wide receivers. Again,
Yeah.
Bralan, Katie, them coming out.
Right.
But that allows some of those juniors to step up into those positions that they haven't had before.
Yeah.
Because again, Bralan was playing, I think he was starting since sophomore year. So again, big names there. But again, I think this was third quarter. They started announcing what the MRA-JA game is. Because again,
Yeah.
my thought process was MRA, again, an undefeated team.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to sit there. They're going to beat JA by a large margin.
Right.
And then probably come in and beat us, and we'll take second place. That was my thought process. So, again, I was talking to Mr. Porter about this before playoffs started, saying that, hey, we win this game, we're going to host Prep. If we beat Prep, and if JA upsets MRA, and it becomes a JA Hartfield game, I don't know what they're going to lose their minds. So when they announced the score, I'm down there, shoulder cam. I about dropped to my knees when I heard 21 JA, 0 MRA.
Yeah.
Like, this can't be happening.
Yeah.
And then it really destroys any narrative that a lot of people had about a prep MRA championship. JA just shuts down MRA with a final score, 35-0.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time MRA's gone scoreless against a big opponent in like 5 years.
Something like that. And I want to say something about MRA. MRA's team, they're really good as well. Like, I would say for amount of from based off like ours from the stats perspective, MRA versus us, they like demolished us for that first game. So whenever I was thinking about it, like with you, I'm like, oh, MRA is probably going to at least like there's going to be like neck and neck at least. And so whenever the third down happened, I was just like, or the third quarter happened, I was like, oh my gosh, knocked it out of the ballpark right there with JA. And I have like a few friends that go to MRA right now, and as soon as we lost that first game against Columbia, I had one of my friends at church. He was just like, "Hey Zane, guess what? How was that game?" I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I see how we're starting things off for our friendship here." And I was like, "Yeah. You can shut your mouth with your MRA trap." But hey, and then I was just like, "Yep, that's gonna be going in the ballpark for him. He's gonna be devastated with that loss." But yeah,
It really challenges a lot of, the preseason thought of how people were going to be. It was really interesting about how that dynamic can, even if big names would say that this is how it's going to go, it's very dynamic. Things can change in a moment. Again, MRA led up, I think it was in the upwards of 5, maybe more than 5 turnovers that game, to where it would allow a JA win. And they always thought that MRA was going to be the favorites to win. Again, they were top seed.
right.
But what was impressive about us with our win against Prep and JA's win against MRA, that allows Hartfield to be the home team for the first time. I think, we weren't home team last year, but we were the year before.
Yeah,
Because we were undefeated 2 years ago.
right.
So this is the second time in 3 years that we're going to be on the home side.
For a state championship game, yeah.
Yeah, so it was good, especially now as a senior, to be on the home side. It was really fun to be there on the home side. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
But again, you got another big 80-yard touchdown from Bralan Womack. Again, a play that now you just expect from him, honestly. Breaking 5 tackles to get in for that touchdown.
Yeah.
Again, really impressive. That finishes the game to a 48-21 Hawks victory there. Again, over double. Kind of just destroys any of, kind of the narrative of the season. Again, 1-5. We've lost to Prep before. You see their, I forget what they call themselves, but basically their version of the Honchos. You see their post about there's one person. Again, they have a podcast somewhere talking about high school football.
Right.
And I think it was one of the 4 guys. I could be wrong. I probably am. But they said that they think the Hawks would win this one. And they were posting stuff like, have we not learned from last time? Again, 48-21 win.
Yeah.
Shuts them down. Really impressive to watch. Watching that game reminded me of how we were last year. Just dynamic, quick. Really enjoyed where we were.
Yeah.
Kind of locked in there. I really enjoyed that. Then coming into Saturday, that was against JA there at MC. We started off a little rough. We started off the game with a fumble.
Yeah.
So it kind of freaked me out. I'm up there helping y'all with drums, and it's like, what are we doing? First play of the game.
Yeah.
We dropped the ball. Again, Katie recovers. But
Gotta give it to him for that, though.
Yeah.
Good recovery with that start of the game.
But on that same drive, we go in for a score.
Yeah.
7-0.
Mm-hmm.
Things look good. I'm happy. It's like, we're going to win 3 times in a row. Unprecedented. It's going to be great.
Right.
But, again, you come in. They respond, obviously. 7-7 first quarter. But, sadly, that's where things go downhill from there.
Yeah, with second quarter, wasn't this the one where Hayden tried to do like a kick and it got blocked?
Yeah,
in the end
blocked
zone?
for safety.
Yeah.
I think that's where things kind of got demoralizing, I think. But it's easy when that sort of thing happens. Again, from my perspective, I thought Hayden kicked the ball before they touched it.
Right.
I thought that, again, the ball got a little bit off. Hayden almost falling over, managed to still kick the ball out. I think to the 30 or 40.
I think that's because he used to play soccer too, so he had that like instinct, I guess, to be able to get towards that ball with a kick. It was an impressive kick too from on the ground. Yeah. So
it was impressive, that recovery, but the refs didn't think so. Yeah. So awarded a 3-point advantage to JA.
Yeah.
I think that's where things went a little bit downhill. Our guys were still there, towels, jumping, doing the whole chance. It's good to see that energy, especially from the underclassmen there.
Right.
But things went a little bit down there. Again, we got another score there, but with what really hurt us there at the end was somebody's trying to call my phone. So sorry for a little break there. Maybe that camera was shaking. I don't know. But what really hurt us was first KD. He got hurt, and he was hurt bad. He was there on the field for a little bit. I know you wrote down that in your stats.
Yeah, him being injured.
I'm not quite sure what it was. He's been struggling with a shoulder injury for years now. He got it hurt towards the beginning of the season. Hello.
People also have been saying that he could have gotten a concussion from, because he had one like either earlier this season or one from last year at the end of the season. So people were wondering if that could have happened. I actually don't know so far with communication on my end. So I don't know. I hope he didn't get concussion because that would not be good for him.
It wasn't. He's one of our big playmakers, so it was hard to see him leave the field. And not too far after, you got Bralan. I'm not sure what happened to him either, but you see him limping in for a touchdown. So that was our second touchdown of the night.
Yeah.
And then he had to come off as well.
With that touchdown, though, I saw that one of the refs were making a foul call on JA because it was like 10 seconds after he made the touchdown, one of the JA players still decided to tackle Bralan Womack, and that also got us closer for Hayden McMahon to make a good kick for the field goal. But it's kind of insane that they did that with tackling Bralan, even after the fact he's been flipping all the way towards the end zone and like he's trying to get off the floor.
Yeah, I agree. But again, you're a big name person. You're going to have a target on your back no matter where you're going.
Yeah.
But again, it's like how we kind of marketed this playoffs where it was, Hartfield versus everybody. I'm pretty sure that it's just nobody. Again, we're 2-time state championships. Nobody's going to like us.
Right.
They're going to do their best to sit there and beat us, as they should, really. But again, it makes it kind of difficult on us.
Right.
But because they're going to try to gang up to try to beat us. Prep couldn't. Jay eventually does, sadly by a larger margin.
Right.
But again, looking back at how the season went in general, I believe the growth for this team has been exponential. A lot of the other squads had that dynamic coming into the season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this one did. So the amount of growth, especially from a younger team, I really think is impressive. Although we did end up losing in the end, again, coming back from a 1-5 record to again 6-6 at the end of the game.
6-6, yeah.
It's still really impressive that we came back from that, pushed past the narrative.
Yeah.
Again, you had students that were demoralized. You had probably the football team as well. It's hard not to be, but still fighting through that, still winning there in the end. It's really impressive.
Absolutely. Having that the mindset to keep going even when all odds are against you is something that not everyone can have on their own. And so with the Coach Bowman, I'm going to give props to him for giving them that encouragement before the playoff season. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it really helps since we were up higher that we had that bye week before the playoffs to play against Prep. I think that time was gold because I think that helped us come together as a team for that 48-21 win against Prep.
Yeah.
It was really impressive to see. Again, I wasn't there. I haven't gotten too much information, but from an outside perspective, it was really impressive to see the team grow as, a team. It was really good to see that. Again, the seniors set a tone, again, with your big names, again, Bralan, Katie, but also with your Coleman Yoder. He, again, face of the defense.
Yeah.
Again, you still have Bralan as safety, but as your linebacker, he played really impressive this season. I think he was the most aggressive out of every single person on that team.
Absolutely.
He was making big plays. Again, probably got tired there at the end because the defense, that front side of the defense really relied on him heavily.
Mm-hmm.
But if you needed a big play on the defense, you look towards Yoder. So hopefully, and I've heard from multiple people that Yoder on that team is a big mentor to a lot of the underclassmen.
Yeah.
He, again, speaking to some of those linebackers that are coming up, I'm not going to name specifics because, again, I don't know what Coach Bowman's going to do.
Right.
But it's really impressive to see these seniors trying to leave their legacy there, trying to build up this younger team because next year it's going to be a really young team.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see how they come back from that. But again, hopefully we'll have somebody doing the podcast for us next year. But in conclusion, I want to ask you kind of out of everyone who's played this season, who do you think is the most exceptional and why?
So for me, I think number 27, Colin McIntyre, he stands out to me because with it, throughout the playoffs and preseason, he was getting some really good yardages for the carries from Ethan Elliot, as well as making some of those touchdowns. So it kind of reminds me of KD last year. So it would be interesting to see him next year whenever he is in like as a senior, how he's going to improve on that to get more like for yardages, getting through the gaps as well, making more touchdowns, and overall being like a better athlete. I can't wait to see him with that.
Yeah, I really agree. How I would, but again, I'm going to give my feather to as well as a junior. I'm going to give it to Ethan Elliott because, again, as the QB, you're kind of the face of the team.
Right.
If the team does bad, you're going to be looked at bad.
Yeah.
Again, the other side around, if your team wins, they're going to praise you the most.
Right.
Since, again, it's one of the toughest positions to be in, especially coming in as a junior. You got to give him a lot of credit. Again, with a losing season, a lot of pressure's on you. Fight through adversity, sit there, get back to a winning record, go into the playoffs. For, again, that game against Prep, probably the best high school QB I've seen ever. And anytime I've watched any football game, I think he's gotten to the point where he's one of the best QBs I've seen. Really impressive work there. I really like the way he's grown this season, the way that his team has grown around him, really, to see him as a leader, even as a junior. It's really impressive to see.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. I never thought of it that way for Ethan Elliott, for how he sets the standard, basically, as a team, as the whole team, basically. But moving on, there's some hot takes for that I want to personally say. There's one that I have about. I'm gonna switch it up from what I told you earlier.
Okay.
So what it is number 2, Bralan Womack. I can't remember if it was the prep game or the MRA. It was one of the playoff games here recently where we had no quarterback because what happened beforehand. Ethan Elliott, he got a lot of personal fouls, so he got kicked out of the game, as well as another player that I can't remember right now. But
I think it was number 1. I forget his name.
Logan Drummond, that's it.
Drummond, yeah.
So Logan Drummond and Ethan Elliott were both kicked out. 2 really good players. Quarterback, obviously, and another one being I think, defensive lineman, which is pretty good.
Or not?
I
think so, maybe.
I'd have to look at the stats again for it, but either or. So both, we didn't have a quarterback or like another good player. So with Ethan out of the picture, Coach Bowman was like, well, what am I supposed to do? I don't have like another quarterback. So what they decided to do was have Bralan Womack as the quarterback of our games. And so with that, instead of throwing the ball as a quarterback would do, he just decides to run it each and every time, gaining us like a lot of yards. I think over 30 plus yards each time he would run the ball. So he would be able to get it from one end to the other really quickly. So I think he has that was no one was expecting him to run the ball each time. They thought he was going to be as the quarterback, but he found the pocket and ran through it and got some touchdowns with that. So never expected that for a quarterback.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. Again, Bralan's not a quarterback. He's safety, wide receiver, but able to fill that gap is insane. He's been really good at shedding tackles. That's one thing I really can give to him. If he gets the ball, he's going to just sit there and throw you onto the ground.
Yeah.
Again, for that 80-yard run, he's shedding 5 tackles, just shoving people into the ground.
Absolutely.
But again, with going back to Ethan Elliott's getting ejected, you can't celebrate too much in the MAIS. They'll say that it's a little bit too difficult.
Unnecessary. Well, no, that's not it. It's
unsportsmanlike
conduct right there.
I want to see if this train gets picked up. No, my noise canceling is amazing. That's okay. Awesome. But no, he sat there, and when he got in for another touchdown run, breaking through a ton of people, again, really impressive, sat there and spun the ball in the end zone. Again, you've you're scoring that much as the quarterback at your rivalry game, that's going to be a temptation.
Yeah.
But again, you can't do it. A lot of good pictures from that, though. I loved it.
Yeah.
Again,
Absolutely.
but again, your student section, you see your QB running and just spin that ball on the ground.
They're gonna go.
It's a
wild for
great
that.
feeling,
Right.
really. I hate that he got ejected for it, but again, it's not college.
Yeah.
It's not NFL. You can't do that, sadly. But really impressive work there. I have to say as well, there's a lot of personal fouls against both the Hawks and the Patriots.
Yeah.
But again, it's your rivalry game. It's going to
It's gonna be
happen.
happening. Yeah.
But that's what makes the rivalry games the most fun to
Absolutely.
watch, because you're going to get a lot of interesting plays there. I'm going to go into a couple of notes here, trying to think of something specific, because I really like talking about Ethan Elliott's growth. Bralan setting the stage for a lot of juniors coming up.
Right.
It's been impressive to see how these seniors have been leaving an impact, and with these juniors rising up, with your Ethan Elliott, with your Colin McIntyre. Again, I haven't been looking too much into Colin McIntyre, but again, you're correct. It's going to be impressive to see how these people move up forward with a usually younger team. I've got to give it to them there.
Absolutely.
But that wraps up episode 1 of 3 of our Hawk Rewind series, where we're going to be talking about football season, where we're going to be talking about basketball season with the manager of the Varsity Guys basketball team, Summit Singleton. Then we're also going to be talking about student life, kind of a recap of this 2025 season, talk about homecoming, the upcoming charity ball in the winter there, and also some of these big events with president of our student council, Jonas May. So that's going to be our 3 episodes there. So make sure to look for next week on those episodes. I think I just took everything you were about to say.
You basically did, but we'll just say it for reference. Next episode, it will be a basketball recap about how the season is progressing so far, and how big of a shot it's going to be whenever they get into their playoffs, basically. So that will be for this upcoming year.
We've had the honor of calling a JV game more in the future.
Yep.
We've had the honor of sitting there. I direct, he runs camera. We sit there, and that live stream production's gone up. It's been really impressive to watch. So if you haven't, tune into Hartfield.live to look at all of our basketball games. It's really impressive to see both the girls and guys squads, varsity and junior varsity, how they work there. But that's what we're going to be talking about next time. I don't want to get too far into that because that's my specialty. I really want to talk about that. But make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. We're going to post some clips on Instagram, so make sure to look at the Instagram for that. So that's going to be at Hartfield News. I think it's Hawk News, actually, on Instagram. We're going to post clips there. We're going to be on Spotify soon. I need to get that set up. That's probably going to be after our 3-episode series. Okay. So we have something to put up there at the beginning.
Right.
But we're going to get a couple extra guests. If you want to have input for those guests, make sure to check that out there. Make sure to comment under this video about who you want to see. And this is the first episode. Hopefully y'all like it. We need to keep on moving this forward in the future. Well, we'll see you next week. And as always, go Hawks.